Hi everyone, Cendril here, and welcome to my post E3 analysis after I've made the videos talking about all the pressers. Hopefully you enjoyed those videos and gleaned some information from it. It's not like you can't look up the information yourselves, because you can, but I hope that some of my enthusiasm or analysis or just some things that I saw, some of my opinions, was enjoyable for you all to listen to and get maybe some different information that way. For this final video, I'm just going to talk about some of the big themes and big, not necessarily storylines, but themes is the best way to put it, that I saw from this E3. And just briefly talk about them, because I think it's something, these are things you're going to see for at least the near future. One of those things that I saw was a push from some people with community. Microsoft did that a ton, and EA did that a little bit with like these weekly competitions. This esports community. And I think that's good for gaming. I talked a little bit about it. I'm not a professional like esports player by any stretch of the imagination, but I think it's good for gaming overall to get a wider appeal out there. Even though gaming is fast, been on the rise for a while now as a source of entertainment. I think that's great. So that's one of the big things that I saw was that. And I really don't have much else to say about it other than that. But a big overarching theme I saw was that kind of a little push toward esports from certain people. Something else that I saw a lot of, and this is where I have to go back through my notes, was some push for indie titles, which this has been happening for the past couple of years, and I think that it's fantastic because they have some great ideas, indie developers, and they can get lost in the shuffle of the AAA titles, and it's nice to see Xbox, EA now getting into it, Sony, take an interest in these titles, and it's good for us, the gamers, that we're getting to play these great games made by these small development studios. I think it's great. One of the biggest things that I saw was the leaks. I'll go ahead and talk about that. And there were so many leaks before E3, right before it started. A few days before. And I think that's sad that there were these leaks, because we're going to find out during E3 anyway. And it just kind of took some of the air out of E3. It's like, oh, okay, that's what this is. I heard about that. I knew it was coming. And I still got super excited because it's E3. And I think you should not be sad during E3. Don't be negative during E3. You can temper your expectations or whatever afterwards, but when E3 is going on, I think it's the time to celebrate gaming. It's the time to celebrate all these new games that are going to come out, and then we can, be critical of them later. I mean, even I was critical of Final Fantasy 15 during my analysis, but we should be excited that we're getting a new Final Fantasy 15 game. We should be excited of all these new great games coming out. Will they all be great? Probably not. Some of them will flop, just because that's the nature of it. But you know what? E3's not the time to talk about it. E3 is the time to be excited and be happy that we're getting all these great new titles and new hardware and new indie studios coming up with new great games and new AAA titles. It's just, in my opinion, a time to celebrate gaming. And it needs to happen more often than it does now, because a lot of people are just super critical about everything. And I think that's really sad. From big channels to small channels to professional reviewers, which that's kind of their job, I guess, to be critical. I get that. But because they need to analyze everything. And I've been critical too here. But at the end of the day, just remember that during E3, it's okay to get excited. You can analyze everything later and say, okay, is this really what it's going to be? You can do that later. Not during E3. You can do it tomorrow. You can do it next week. You can do it sometime. You can do it right before the game comes out, because you'll be analyzing the games before you buy them anyway. You should. But just remember that. Have fun with E3. So that's one of the big things I wanted to talk about. Have fun with E3. Because I see so many people not having fun with E3. And just being super critical of everything, and you shouldn't do that. I don't think we should. I think we should have fun with E3. And we should get super excited. One of the other big trends that I saw was getting the sequel for a game, get you the first game free. A lot of titles were doing that. I think I failed to mention the new South Park game when I was doing the Ubisoft, my Ubisoft video, was that if you buy the new South Park game that's coming out, you get Stick of Truth for free, the first game. And I saw that so much during this. If it was a sequel to a game, like a direct sequel to that, like I think, where was it? I think I also failed to say that during Dishonored as well, because I was just talking about all the really cool things about Dishonored, was that if you buy Dishonored, you get Dishonored, the, like, forget what edition they call it, but it's the big edition that has, like, the DLC and stuff in it, for free. That's been a huge theme for this E3. And personally, I think it's awesome. Why wouldn't I want, a game free if I'm buying the sequel? Maybe I want to play the first one again. Maybe I missed it, but I knew it was really good, but I personally didn't get to play it. Now I get to. I think it's great. I hope that trend continues. Because you're not charging for it. Like, they're not saying, if you spend $80, you get the first game as well. I mean, no, it's not like that. If you're getting the sequel, you're getting the first game for free. That was a big trend of this E3, and I'm down for free games. And this could be just another, hey, it's just another pre-order trick. And I'm kind of against, pre-order to get this thing. Like, I'm against that, because then you'll never be able to get it if you don't pre-order, and I don't like that. I don't like how a lot of games do that. But this is different. You could always buy the first game if you want to. And if you're getting the sequel anyway, why not get the first game for free? Like, this is one of the pre-order things that I am fully okay with. And I think you should be too. And you're getting the prequel for free. What's to complain about? And if you can't pre-order it or don't pre-order it, that's okay. If you want to play the first game, just buy it. You can buy it later. I don't see a problem with it personally. This pre-order type thing. I think if you were gonna pre-order anyway, hey, that game looks good, I'm pre-ordering it. That way, I can just pick it up. Oh man, now I get the first game for free too? Sweet. I think it's great. So that's my opinion on that. That was a big trend, though. I saw a lot of sequel games doing that. So expect it. I think you'll see that for sequels for games. I think you can expect to see that come up, because I think a lot of people will like it, and a lot of people will talk good about it, and companies will still do it. This one was just going to be more about me talking again about trends or just some stuff that I saw overall, but I didn't have a separate page or anything like, for that. Oh, VR. Duh. What's VR? VR is going to be a huge thing. And a lot of people say it's going to be just like the Kinect or whatever, and it's going to fail. I don't think so, because this is just a completely different beast. And while it won't be for everybody, I think in like 5 years, everybody's going to be accustomed to VR. And we'll be using VR for stuff. Like, I really do, unless they, like, take whatever step is beyond VR. unless that happens sometime, which I don't even know what that would be. But I think it's here to stay. It won't be for every game. It won't be really used. Right now, it's just starting to be used. You're going to start seeing games for it now. You're going to start seeing games go into VR. But, like I said, in the next couple of years, fully expect VR to reach new heights as just the technology and hardware gets better. And I think these people that are writing off VR, this isn't motion controls to me. This is something else. And I don't see VR going away. I just don't. And one of the big things about VR that people have said is, oh man, you're looking around all the time, your neck hurts, gamers don't want to do that. And, having to look around everywhere. Maybe so. But for stints, it will be really cool. Yeah, I do want to have VR, and use it for a little bit. And then maybe, I get tired, after, looking around, my neck starts to hurt. And it's like, okay, well, I'll just play the game normally after that. Or, okay, that was fun, and then I'll play this game later. I just don't see that being a complete off point like everybody else does. Because it will still have its place. And again, I just don't see VR being completely out of it. I just don't. I think it's new. It's new hardware, but two, it's the eventual step to like full VR where you're just like playing in Tron type, except without the permadying. But that's where we're going because that's been the natural progression. You just think about it. You go from motion controls to better motion controls to movement in like Just Dance and stuff like that to VR headsets to whatever's next. Like we just keep going on this road and you say, oh well, it failed. Motion controls failed, it was a flop. But it was the step on the ladder. The ladder's not falling down. We're just climbing more rungs. So, well, this VR headset, these VR headsets might not make it in the long run. They're the next rung of the ladder. And as long as people are willing to buy them and try them, and people are, you will see the next rung. Do not count out VR because I think that's the wrong decision. I think it's only going to continue to grow in one fashion or another. One last thing that I want to say about this E3, and I think it always gets lost in the shuffle, and it's something I want to talk about. Just very briefly to wrap this up, is that we're really lucky as gamers. Never forget that. We're so lucky to have so many great games coming out. And will some of them flop eventually? Of course they will, because that's the nature of the beast. Something will mess up. One of them won't be perfect or anywhere close to it. There'll be game-breaking bugs. But compared to years ago, we're so lucky to have so many great games coming out. These big franchises, these small indie games, anything and everything in between, to have so many new features, new environments to play in, new ideas. It's fantastic to be a gamer and to watch E3 and say, these are the things that I have to choose from. And a lot of them look like they're going to be so much fun. We're lucky that way. And don't forget that it used to not be that way. You don't know. You could get NES or Super NES games, Super Nintendo games, and some of them were good and some of them were just terrible. It was, you didn't know whether you were going to get a good game or not. And a lot of that doesn't happen these days with E3 titles. Like, these will more than likely be good games. And we're really lucky because of that. And we should smile and we should celebrate the game creators, the people that work and put in so much time for these games for us to play, for me to play and share my experiences with all of you, for these adventures that we can go on and have a lot of fun and smile. And we should celebrate E3 instead of completely nitpicking it apart all the time. So, until the next episode of whatever you watch, that does it for my E3 analysis and opinions for 2016. Let me know what you thought of this mini-series as a whole. It was fun to do, although, I had to take a lot of notes, and it was still a blast. And like I said, we're lucky. We're lucky to have something like E3 and be able to see all these great new games that we will have a chance to play. I'm Cendril89. Remember to shoot for the stars and take care, everyone.